Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle is a sequel, and I would also say remake, to the original Jumanji movie that came out in 1995. And when I saw the trailer for this movie, I had absolutely no confidence in it whatsoever. I mean, me personally, I never felt the original Jumanji ever needed to be remade or ever needed a sequel. So when I saw this, I'm just like, this is just going to be a cash grab. It's just going to be a terrible movie. None of the comedy's going to hit. I saw the trailer, I'm just like, this is going to be a complete mess. I personally, however, felt I should see it because, one, I needed to see if the movie would actually be that bad. And two, I was thinking to myself, you know what, if I'm going to do a justifiable worst of the year list at the end of this year, should probably see Jumanji. That way I can at least know I have a spot guaranteed for that. However, I must say, in terms of the pleasant surprises this year, Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle is probably near the top of the list. This movie was actually really good. Right out the gate, I really like the opening scene of this movie because you see this kid, his name's Alex, he finds the Jumanji board game and he's all like, who plays board games anymore? And you see him just, gaming with his video games because that's what started to become in 1996. And you see the magic in the Jumanji game, the Jumanji game, it realizes like, oh, people don't play board games anymore? Alright, and it transformed itself into a video game, and then Alex plugged it into the TV, started playing the video game, and he got sucked into the game. So right there, I like that this movie took that route, it realized, you know what, board games aren't really in anymore, video games is what kids are playing, that's what kids are into, so we're gonna make Jumanji into a video game, so it becomes more relevant to today. Now the movie flashes forward 20 years later. We meet the four main characters of this movie. One of these kids is Spencer. He's this nerdy gamer. He's kind of afraid of everything. Kind of has this really bad OCD that he deals with. You have this other guy named Fridge who used to be friends with Spencer. Spencer's kind of trying to help him through school by basically writing his papers for him because Fridge is a big-time football player and he can't get kicked off the football team because if his grades are really shitty, then he's gonna get kicked off. So Spencer's, in a way, trying to drag him through the mud in an attempt to repair this friendship that they used to have when they were younger. And then you have this girl named Bethany who's a stereotypical popular girl in high school. She's really attractive. She's taking all these Instagram selfies to, blow up on social media. And then you have the fourth student who is Martha. She's kind of this shy, standalone kind of student, doesn't really make friends with anyone because she's under the impression that people are just going to immediately dislike her, so she instead immediately dislikes them first. I really like this group of students because, it kind of reminded me of the Breakfast Club a little bit. You have this group of students who would probably never hang out with each other in real life in their social groups. They'll come from different branches of the high school social group, and now they're all stuck together because, they've all gotten lumped into detention together. They're given the assignment of cleaning out the basement, and as they're cleaning out the basement, Spencer finds a Jumanji game that ended up there. He's like, hey, you know what? Let's all play this. Let's give it a whirl. Let's just see what it does. So they all pick their different characters, and then they get sucked into the game, and they become the characters that they chose. Spencer is now The Rock, Martha is now Karen Gillan, Bethany is now Jack Black, and Fridge is now Kevin Hart. So now the four of them have realized that they became the avatars that they chose to play, and they now begin to see that they have to win the game if they're going to get back into the real world, all while making sure that they don't use up their 3 lives, because if they do that, they're not just going to die in the game, they're going to die in real life. I'm going to say, the cast that plays the kids when they're in the video games, they all do a really good job. The Rock and Jack Black in particular are really funny in this movie. I like seeing Dwayne Johnson not really play this big, tough guy, badass that we're usually used to seeing him saying because, he's The Rock. It's really funny seeing him as this really awkward, brainy, scared guy that's just, big and physical. Jack Black, though, he's the one who really stands out in this movie, because he's the one that is the teenage girl that's obsessed with Instagram. You can really tell that he's having a great time with this role. He's having fun with it, and he plays it so well. It's so funny seeing him as this role, as this teenage girl that's stuck in this, middle-aged, overweight man's body. I will say, as far as the other two go, Karen Gillan did a fine job in this movie. It wasn't anything mind-blowing, but she kind of did the job that she needed to do. I feel like she kind of had one of the easier jobs because, the character she plays is this kind of shy, doesn't really say much, keeps it to herself kind of person, so I feel like that made her job a little bit easier. Getting into Kevin Hart, though, I'm going to say this right now. I love Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart is one of my all-time favorite comedians. I have watched just about every single stand-up he has ever done, and I have laughed my ass off to every single one of them. When it comes to stand-up comedy, the dude is a genius. In terms of being a comedic actor, though, Kevin Hart for me has sometimes been a little bit hit or miss. There are times I watch him in movies, I think he's hilarious. There are times I watch him in movies, I think he's kind of annoying. I will say, in this movie, he was funny. There were a few moments that he definitely had me laughing. The issue I had was, I didn't really see the kid character Fridge in Kevin Hart. I mean, in the other three, I saw the teenagers that were in these avatars. I didn't really see this character, this kid Fridge, in Kevin Hart. You know Kevin Hart, Kevin Hart just plays Kevin Hart in every movie he's in. He's a spaz, he talks really fast, he says ridiculous stuff, he does the kind of things that are gonna get him in trouble. Didn't really see Fridge as that kind of character, so that's what threw me off a little bit with Kevin Hart. But anyways, the four characters discovered that to win the game, they have to find this crystal and put it into this jaguar statue that's in the middle of Jumanji, which will break this curse. If they do that, they'll be able to go home. So now the rest of the movie from here is the four of them just trying to make their way through the jungle, make it through all these levels. And what I really love here is really seeing how Jumanji captured what being in a video game would probably be like. Each character has 3 lives. If you die once, you use up a life, but then you come back perfectly fine. How you meet these non-playable characters who will just say the same thing to you again and again and again because, when you talk to them once, that's what they will always say to you for the remainder of the game. You have the different levels, the different bosses, the different obstacles you need to overcome. I don't play video games as much as I used to, although I did get Super Mario Odyssey for Christmas, which has been awesome. You should check that out if you're into playing video games. Point is, I have played enough of them to understand how video games work, to have the appreciation for them, and I do really like seeing how well Jumanji made it into a real-life video game. And what I also do like seeing is this is where we do see the character development really grow with these characters, because, along the way, you see them helping each other, learning to work with one another, and you really do see friendships developing between these 4 characters, which is nice because, again, similar to The Breakfast Club, these are characters you never would think would ever be friends with each other, and along the way, they do become friends with each other. Then along the way, the 4 characters, they run into Nick Jonas, and they notice him interacting with them a little bit differently, just casually speaking with them, not acting like a non-playable character. And so they realize, oh shit, you were that 5th character that we couldn't choose to play. You were already chosen. You must have been sucked into this game. You're another kid like us. And yeah, you do realize that he is indeed that kid Alex that was sucked into the game at the very beginning, back in 1996. And very quickly they realize that Alex has absolutely no idea how long he's been stuck in the game for. He believes it's still 1996. That's what they notice a little bit in the way he's talking, because it's 2017. People aren't exactly saying what they were saying in the 90s. That is for sure. But I do love this moment because you see in Alex, he's like, I've been stuck in this game for 20 years. So much of my life has been wasted. My parents, for all they know, think I'm dead. Everyone knows me as the kid who just disappeared. In his case, he has no idea what to expect when he leaves this game, if he even ends up leaving this game. I also like seeing the fact that, he's been in the game for so long, so he's already down to only 1 life left, and he has that fear. It's like, I don't want to die. I really don't want to die in Jumanji. And again, it gives the characters more of a chance to shine, to see them, step up a little bit more, motivate him, be like, we're all getting out of this game together. We're getting you back home with the rest of us. Along the way, I gotta say, the movie leads to a lot more really fun action. The levels just continue to get more and more interesting as the game goes along. There are moments that even add a little bit of intensity to it, because there are times it's like, this level looks tough to beat. Guys are losing their lives, it's getting whittled and whittled down more. It's like, could they make it? It's just not at all what I was expecting with this movie, and I'm really glad I saw it in this movie. And now we finally get into the final level of the game. The heroes have to confront this villain, Van Pelt, who wants the jewel for his own power. Like I said, in terms of villains, I mean, the guy was fine. He wasn't like a memorable villain. He wasn't really stand out. He's kind of there. And the movie knows that he doesn't need to be great because he's not the focal point of this movie. The focal point is these 5 characters. So yeah, he wasn't a very memorable villain, but I know the movie didn't need him to be that, so I can give the movie a bit of a pass on that. But anyways, we get to the final level of the game. This is where the heroes have to gather everything they've learned, everything they've figured out, everything they've learned to do, and they're gonna get this jewel to the top of the statue, because at this point, most of them, if not all of them at some point in this scene, get down to 1 life. So it's pretty much now or never. And what I love about this scene is it's a great action scene. It's intense, it's exciting, and here you continue to see how much the characters have grown, what they've learned to do with the powers they had in this game, how they've learned to, decipher their way through the game. It's just how it works with playing video games. The more you play it, the longer you play it, you begin to understand it more. You know what works for your character best. You know how to beat it. Again, it's something that made the movie relevant because it understands how video games do work. So after a long, hard battle between the heroes and Van Pelt's forces, which mostly consisted of a lot of jaguars, they were able to put the jewel back, and they win the game. So with that, the 4 students, they all return back to detention. They're all back to their normal selves. They do quickly realize that Alex is not with them, which has them wondering what exactly happened to him. But eventually you do see, as the 4 of them are walking home from school that day, they see this guy moving into the old house that Alex used to live in. Well, actually, he's not necessarily moving into it. I guess he was just stopping by there to visit his parents, who are now normal because, you know, their son's not missing anymore. And they see that this adult with a wife and 2 kids is in fact Alex. Anyway, he's able to approach them. He reveals to them, it's like, oh yeah, when I left the game, I went back to my timeline. I went back to 1996, so I was still able to live my life, you know, be a kid again, you know, and live the life that I wanted. And now, here I am as an adult. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the original Jumanji. You know, when they beat the game there, you know, Robin Williams, he went back to his childlike self because the movie sent him back into his timeline. I like that the movie kept pace with that. It was good to see. And then the movie basically wraps up. The 4 students are now friends now. They've decided to destroy the Jumanji game entirely because fuck doing that again. But what is nice is seeing how much these kids have changed, have grown. You know, Fridge and Spencer, they've repaired their friendship. Bethany's not really on her phone as much anymore. In fact, she kind of wants to explore wilderness, explore the world a little bit more. Martha has become ready to accept people more. She's ready to be friends with people again. And that right there is pretty much where the movie ends. So all in all, I will say Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle was a pleasantly surprising movie. The cast in this movie does a great job. The young actors who played the students, I thought they did a good job. The older actors, the adult actors who played the avatars of these students, they all did a great job. A few of them more so than a couple of the others. I like that the movie perfectly captured what the world of a video game is like. I really liked the humor that was in this movie. I liked the action that was in this movie. I mean, is this movie going to go down as one of the best movies of the year? Is this a movie that I will remember for the rest of my life? Not necessarily, but it was a movie that I didn't think was going to be good at all. I thought it was going to be terrible, and it ended up being a really good movie that I think everyone out there can enjoy, and I think that's definitely saying something. So that's all I gotta say, guys. Thank you so much for watching my video. Don't forget to leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you all next time.